Andrew, Austin, Texas, the great KBXT. You disagree with me? Go right ahead, my friend.
Hi, Mr. Levin. I listen to your show sometimes, and I'm somewhat put off by the way you talk about the president. I'm a retired Army colonel.
It's very frustrating, isn't it, Colonel? Very frustrating. Yeah, it really is.
I hear you making assertions about the man that you can't back up any more than you asked that.
Well, try me out, Colonel. Go ahead, pal. Try me out.
He was a communist.
We're running out of time. Try me out. Go ahead.
Well, I disagree with what you espouse.
Sir, you said you're a colonel, right? Let's stay focused. I asked you, go ahead and challenge me. Go ahead and ask me the question. Go.
Well, what do you have to prove that everything you say about Obama is true? That he's a socialist, for example.
Let me go back 3 years and figure out everything I've said. Socialist, sir? Spread the wealth. Let me ask you a question. Is that Adam Smith?
Hold
on, sir. I asked you a question now. Spread the wealth. I asked you, is that Adam Smith? Who is that? Who is that?
You didn't answer my question.
What's your question now?
My question was, what's your proof that he's a socialist?
I'm explaining it to you, sir. You don't actually walk around with a card. I said when he told Joe the plumber he wants to spread the wealth and every policy that he has promoted is aimed in that direction. What other evidence do you need, sir?
Well, I disagree with you that every policy...
Well, who cares? I asked you what other evidence do you need?
I don't need that evidence because...
Have you read either of his autobiographies?
I don't agree with that.
Have you listened to the audio we played about his interpretation of the Warren Court?
I read both of them.
You know what, sir? I don't know what kind of lieutenant colonel you were. But I hope you're going to pay attention because you're talking over me. You asked me questions. I'm answering them. Now, I asked you, have you read either of his autobiographies?
I have read both books, yes.
Okay. Who's Frank?
Who's who?
Who's Frank?
Who Frank is?
It's Franklin Davis, communist, one of his mentors. Who's Reverend Wright? Who's Bill Ayers? So what? We have an audio of what he said about the Supreme Court. So what? We have his autobiographies. So what? We have his policies. So what? We have his own statements, right, Colonel?
Like a communist is president.
Get out of here. Of course, he has all these Marxists he's appointed around him. Where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? And for those two last callers, we play this.
You live here? Yes. Well, maybe you know what a zombie is. When a person dies and is buried, it seems there's certain voodoo priests who have the power to bring him back to life.
Horrible.
It's worse than horrible because a zombie has no will of his own. You see them sometimes walking around blindly with dead eyes, following orders, not knowing what they do, not caring. You mean like Democrats?
We've played that over the years. That's from the 1940s movie Ghostbreakers. That's Bob Hope. So let us regroup, shall we? We have Obama, who has not made his economic views exactly secret. Believes in nationalizing industries. He believes in government-run health care. He believes in eliminating certain banking activities and taking them over by the government. He believes in massive tax increases. He believes in spreading the wealth, quote unquote. He believes in fundamental transformation, quote unquote. He is an expert on Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, actually taught from it. He has befriended on his own domestic terrorists. He befriended and became a member of a so-called church in South Chicago under a so-called preacher named Wright. Somebody wrote 2 books for him in which he makes clear what his philosophy is. And there's even a good chunk of racism in there. He's appointed Marxists and Maoists and all kind of ists all over the federal government. And the supposed lieutenant colonel who calls earlier, retired, do you have any proof? As he kept trying to talk over me, and my producer had to keep lowering him. Like I said, I'm not like the other hosts to let them go on and on and on with their talking points. This is the UFC here, baby. You got something, you better bring it, and you better bring it fast, or you get knocked out. Boom.